welcome back to the C Morning Show right here on the C. Today, you are back with us. So in the midst of digital era, there are almost no boundaries between areas of privacy. Don't you agree?
Yes.
Okay. And areas that can be consumed by, the public. So we're going to talk more about that.
Yes, exactly. There is no boundaries between the private area and public area. Sometimes I got drawn into social media, and then but then I got headache because people are oversharing.
Oversharing.
Exactly, and then I decided to quit, and I put the limit on my phone.
Right.
Only 2 hours a day.
2 hours a day. You scroll something or you gain information which are very important, right?
Yeah, I think it's really important.
Now, regarding to that, did you know that data privacy attached to every social media users have become a target of crime? And this is the type crime is called doxing. But what is actually doxing? How does it go? Without further ado, let's do a deep dive into this topic with organized crime expert Pahrur Roji Dalimunte. Good morning, Mas Pahrur.
Good morning, Barama. Good morning, Mbak Safira.
Good morning.
Okay, we're going to talk more about doxing.
Exactly. This is something that I'm really concerned about, that people are oversharing through their social media. Sometimes they're not realize that they are doing the doxing. But please enlighten us about what is doxing and why is it scary?
Yeah.
Okay, when you listen about the internet era and phone era, I remember one of the head of our intelligence agency, head of intelligence agency in Indonesia, told me that when it comes to the internet, when it comes to the phones, there must be public domain. So everything that you put on the internet, everything that you put on the phones, there is possible as a public domain. So that's why you should acknowledge that situation. So that people, that former boss of the Indonesian intelligence agency never used internet now. So yeah. So back to the doxing. So there is no international treaty, there is no international convention related to the doxing, but based on the recent finding, doxing is the part of the cybercrime. I would like to say that just recently, several days ago, the Global Organized Crime Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime just released the Global Crime Index. That index shows the index of the transnational organized crime in every country. And then the most interesting thing from the research is Indonesia, for the cybercrime part of the organized crime, Indonesia put rank as number 13 around the world and the number 2nd in Southeast Asia. The most interesting finding of that research is Indonesia, of that research, put as the largest digital economy nowadays, and the biggest threat on the cybercrime in Indonesia is data protections. The case is they use the fake apps and then stealing personal data. And talk about the doxing. There is only 2 countries till now who regulate specifically about doxing. One, Singapore, and then the second one is Hong Kong.
Right.
What the definition of the doxing? So yeah, as I mentioned before, there is no specific definition on it, but based on the research, the main definition of the doxing is if it comes to collect or steal and then release and become publicly available all personal information.
Okay.
Without subject consent. So without subject consent.
All right.
Okay. So, Mas Pahrur, we want to know more about doxing. Is there any like specific types of doxing itself? If there are specific types, how does it work? How do we know that we're on to this level 1, 2, or 3?
Oh, okay. So as I mentioned before, doxing is type of act that collect and then release personal information to public. And the intention of there is a specific intention, for example, to harass, to punish, to intimidate, or to humiliate.
Yeah.
So I think you may be aware about the Adi Armando case or Dennis Siregar case when the hacker released their information, their identity to the internet. That's type of doxing.
Oh, okay, okay. So basically, if you, we really need to be aware about our private data.
Yes.
But sometimes we have to share it online since we are doing lots of things online. So basically, we put our ID, we scan our information. So basically, it's become a public domain. So public domain. What are the laws and penalties for doxing, Mas Pahrur? Since seems like we are very vulnerable on that era.
So there is no specific laws on doxing, but we can use now regulation to punish doxer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For example, if you use the ITA law, there is if you collect and release, if you release other personal information, that can be punished by the ITA law.
Okay.
And then the second one, if you collect personal information from others without others' consent, that can be punished by the PDP law, Personal Data Protection Law.
Okay. Oh, I have I have so many numbers that I block on my phone because there's a lot unknown number, no name, and I try to trace the number through the one of the app, so I know the tag.
Contact?
Exactly. Exactly, and I report the number, and I have so many block lists on my phone.
So that makes
doxing.
two of us.
That's doxing. All right.
Okay. That's doxing, right?
Okay.
So, Mas Pahrur, continuing with the questions, can personal data shared within a group of companies, let's just say, be considered as a doxing?
Yeah, that's a doxing. So if they collect and then they release to the public, so without subject consent, that's a doxing.
Okay.
Okay.
As simple as that.
Okay, so you mentioned that we are basically in our concern, in my concern, that we actually share our information to the company that we register or something like that. So basically, the company has our personal data and they share it. If it becomes a doxing if they share it without our consent. So what should we do to prevent ourselves from becoming a victim of doxing?
First, maybe when some companies, I mean, not a bank or maybe not a government, you should manipulate your data. I mean, for example, if someone in the mall asks your information, just manipulate them. I mean, just tell the wrong name or the wrong address.
Just give a fake information.
Now, give a fake information and then make all the data there, I mean, on their database is obvious. I mean, they will ask again about the validity of the data.
Okay, okay. Oh,
so manipulate a little bit, cheat a little bit in order to save your privacy, right?
Of course.
that is a small step to do so, right? So fake automated and also suspicious calls, like Shafira just said, can also be considered as doxing itself. So usually they claim to be banks or other companies.
Insurance,
and use your personal details to actually win your trust for them to actually, them to scam us. So I mean, how can we make a report of such case? Because as we know, our numbers, our mobile numbers are like everywhere. They can access it everywhere.
So anyway, if, for example, one company collect and then sell your data, and then your data used by another company, that's not perfect. I mean, that's not really a real doxing. So doxing needs not just collect, release, but there is also intention.
Okay.
For example, to punish, intimidate, humiliate. But the case that you just mentioned is also prohibited in our law, but not really as doxing.
Right.
So how to report and how to stop it? So in Indonesia, there is a specific regulation. OJK already regulate. They open for report if there is a company that call you without your consent. I mean, you never gave any information to their company. You can report them to the OJK, and OJK can close their company by the action.
Okay.
And if it's come to the crime, as I mentioned before, you can report the companies with IT or PDP law.
Right. Okay. So before we actually report this to OJK, as you just mentioned, maybe is correct me if I'm wrong here, Mas Pahrur, maybe the small baby step that we can actually do, for instance, if it's just a bank, let's just say it's a bank, right? They're offering us, A, B, and C. So is it okay for us to actually go to the bank and ask for a piece of paper, and then we sign that we do not want to get any information? Is that allowed or not? After that, we sign that as a proof. If they're still doing it, we can actually report it to OJK. Is that correct?
I think no need to sign everything, because
Right.
our law already regulate about the personal protection, personal data protection in our banking law. And even that laws, I mean, the sanction for that law is higher than ITA or PDP law to the bank.
Okay.
So they will not release your information. One thing that we should aware, I mean, our threat is not a bank, I think, but when it comes to, for example, nowadays there is a malware that sent to your WhatsApp name, for example, invitation for wedding.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Invitation for wedding. And then other thing, when you, I mean, that open a website, and then there is a please click the link, agree, and others.
Yeah.
They also can steal your information. So that's why I mentioned before, if it's come to, I mean, not authority or a bank or medical, you should manipulate data. Or, for example, if the malware like the wedding invitation, you should not click that link.
Okay.
Several years ago, I also, collaborate with one of the agency or company from the Singapore. They opened a branch in Indonesia. They buy and sell information, identity. Normally, they get the information through the telemarketer in the mall.
Whoa, be careful then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
One data at a time charge for about 20 to 25,000 rupees.
wow, that's a lot of money. You can multiply it to 100 or 150 or 200.
Oh, not 100, maybe million.
Maybe million, of course. Wow. So basically, we have the responsibility of ourselves to not share our data for free. I mean, if someone's approach you in somewhere and ask about your data, sometimes we are not, you know, in a conscious in a conscious situation that we just okay, we share the information, and then they sell our information, and then we are start to being upset. Why these people calling me all the time? And then we started to block them. So basically, like you mentioned, Mas Pahrur, is based on the intention. So doxing can state it as the doxing if the intention is bad, or they share your information, our information without any consent. So if a company, let's say, is a vehicle rental service, where the customers probably rent the vehicles and then they steal the vehicles, but they put their ID as a cultural. And then when he left, can the company share the information about the stealer? And is that still considered as a doxing?
That's considered as doxing.
Really?
So that's why there is two crimes. So if you share other information, that's another crime. And if someone steal your stuff, that's another crime. So how to? So for the companies, they need to report it to the police, and then let the police
do the
publish
things.
the identity of the perpetrators with, wanted or notice. There is a DPO in Indonesia, or red notice in Interpol. So let them walk. You don't need to. I think there is a case like that. Not a company, but person who, release stealer information. I think in Sumatra at the time. And then the one who posts the identity on the Facebook at the time, charged with the crime. Punished, I think, 9 months at the time.
Okay, so we have to be careful. Even though that if there's someone steal from you or do harm thing with us, we cannot share their ID, or we can, charge by the law. Oh my God, I don't want to do that happen to me.
We don't want
so
that.
we have to be careful about that. Okay, thank you so much to remind us, Mas Pahrur, about that. I keep that in mind for sure. And I have to keep my personal data as well, so I'm not going to be the victim of doxing in a future time. Thank you so much for your time, and happy weekend to you.
Thank you, Mas Pahrur.
Okay. Wow, so it's very tricky, Rahma.
Yes, it is.
If we are become very upset with someone, probably someone's borrow our money and they just left. It happens all the time. We want to, humiliate that person, and if we share the information, we can charge by the law because it's doxing. Just be careful about that. All right.
More.
That wraps up our talk show. Please stay with us on C Morning Show. We'll be right back after the break.
She's on fire.
I am, because it's very tricky.